Yo, welcome to another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K Sap. And today, man, we got some breaking news out of Boulder, Colorado. But when you come across the video, make sure you share it out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you pushing that like button when you come across the video. And if this is your first time coming across the channel and the platform, please hit the subscribe button. I see everybody in the comments section. Hashtag salute. On this channel, we cover sports, hot topics, roundtable talk, and the marriage chronicles. And you know what my mantra is. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. For today's episode, man, it's finally taking place out there in Boulder, Colorado. Deion Sanders has made an announcement that Sean Lewis will be relieved of his offensive coordinator play calling duties. So what does that mean? If you guys look at the past history, once you're relieved from your duties as a play caller or a defensive coordinator, sometimes you don't keep your job on that particular program. Other teams will look into getting your services, but Deion Sanders has made the announcement that Sean Lewis will no longer be calling the plays leading into the Saturday's matchup. Now, Sean Lewis, he was a head coach at Kent State back in 2018 to 2021. He played collegiately at Wisconsin. Everybody's been giving Sean Lewis flack ever since that first victory at TCU. They gave him a pat on the back, said he, called a great game against TCU, which I thought he did. It was tempo and pace. It was protecting Shador Sanders, and they got the run game established, and the offensive line was blocking. But games moving forward, and every press conference when the game was over, they was asking, Deion about Shador Sanders getting sacked and everything, and said the offensive line and the coaching staff has to do a better job. But at that particular time, Deion wasn't trying to throw nobody under the bus. But you all know that Shador Sanders is the most sacked quarterback in the FBS. So it's like it was time for a change. And sometimes, man, change is good. Sean Lewis been catching a lot of heat for his play calling. Every game, it's something different. If you think about it, in a situation like that, I don't think the offensive line is that bad that they can't protect Shador Sanders. Sometimes that's predicated on the offensive play calling. I mean, if you don't call the right plays to counter what the defense is doing, then things happen. So in this situation, Shador Sanders getting sacked all the time, getting beat up. So they're going to make a change. He was under heavy scrutiny even after that USC game when Colorado was marching the ball down to get within 7, how long it took for them to run the plays, just methodically, walking downfield. And sometimes in these situations, when you got these teams that you're playing against and they got a good defensive front four, you got to run max protect. You got to get your running game established. After that first game at TCU, man, their tempo decreased. They didn't play high pace. They didn't play fast. You know what I'm saying? Not giving the defense a chance to set. So it's like things like that, they rear their ugly head when you start losing. Now, Deion, he wants to get at least 2 more wins so he can get a bowl game. So this week, leading into their matchup against Oregon State, they have to get that win. They have to get the win, man. They need 2 more wins to get in the bowl, and Deion ain't playing. So he sent a stern message. And what it is now, the reports are out that Pat Shumur is going to be taking over the offensive play calling on Saturday's game. Now, Pat Shumur is a quality control analyst at, the University of Colorado. If y'all guys remember who Pat Shumur was, he was the head coach for the Cleveland Browns back in 2011. He had a stint with the New York Giants. He was the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings during that Minnesota Miracle when they had Case Keenum and he threw the touchdown against New Orleans against, you know, the play that they called to Stephon Diggs for the Minnesota Miracle to win that game in the playoffs. Also, last stint he had was with the Denver Broncos. He was the offensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. But there's reports out there. We got a report from a verified Twitter handle, and this is what he had to say. This is from Brett McMurphy. Colorado quality control analyst Pat Shumur will take over play calling duties for offensive coordinator Sean Lewis versus Oregon State. Sources told at Action News Network. Deion Sanders must evaluate Shumur from analyst to full-time coach to be eligible to coach. Lewis will still signal the plays in, a source said, but it's unknown which assistants will be demoted to make room for Shumur's promotion. Shumur was a NFL offensive coordinator with 4 teams, most recently, like I stated, with the Broncos in 2020 to 21. He was a former head coach of the Giants and the Browns. And that's coming from Brett McMurphy at Action Network headquarters. So that's a verified Twitter account. So that's news out there. That's breaking news that Pat Shumur will be taking over the play calling for Sean Lewis. It's unfortunate that things, came about that way. But Deion's going to get heavy backlash for this move. But sometimes you can't worry about your critics. I mean, he ain't been worried about his critics, this far. He continues to send a strong message to his kids. You got to go out there and play. You got to execute. But this is all predicated around the coaching staff putting these kids in the best position to win these football games. And I think, going forward, like I said, change is good. A lot of kids might rally around this. I would like to see Pat Shumur come in and run some plays to get that run game going. Don't abandon the run, to get that max protect to keep Shador off his back. Because like I said, you give Shador Sanders enough time in that pocket to survey, he's going to make plays. He's going to make plays because if you don't have number 2 out there, you're going to be doomed. So you don't want to have to go through a situation you went through last week where you had to take a cortisone shot at halftime just to, subdue some of that pain that was injected on you. But I think this would be a good move for Colorado going forward. Pat Shumur, he has the ability to get things going, to call the right plays. But as an offensive coordinator, your job is hard, man, because you got to run plays based on what the defensive set is. So, I hope things work out. But, Pat Shumur got a lot of credibility and, Deion is trusting him. And in the situation, once he got demoted, now, like they said, Pat Shumur has to be, elevated to the coaching staff. What other coach is this going to affect? I think Colorado still can get it done. They can get into the bowl, but this is major news, man. But offensive coordinator Sean Lewis got the bad end of the stick. In the media, everybody been trying to come for him, talking about the offensive coordinator, the play calls, and things like that. But it's time that Deion thought the change had to be made, and he made it at a significant time. You know what I'm saying? I think you got like 4 games left in your season to get in that bowl game, to be a successful season. Even if they don't get a bowl game, it still will be a successful season. But like Deion said, you gotta have the guys in the trenches. And I don't think that offensive line is that bad that that they can't protect Shador, but sometimes it comes down to play calling. A lot of people come for these coaches about bad play calling, and Sean Lewis has been on the wrong end of the stick. So you guys, man, let me know what y'all think down in the comments section. Keep sharing the video out. Keep smashing that like button. Keep supporting the channel. Keep posting your comments. Like I said, I see everybody in the comments section. This is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. And we're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.